Yeah, we'll now go into our first keynote speaker of the day, Christian Feliciano. Just a disclaimer for y'all, we are going to be recording this at this time for the speaker, just the keynote speech. Chris is a proud first-generation college graduate from a low-income household affected by gang violence in Southeast San Diego. After developing a critical lens to recognize and challenge the underrepresentation of his community in higher education, Chris found his passion for equitable opportunities provided by college access and success initiatives. Take it away, Chris.
That is awesome. Thank you for the introduction, Audie Daniel. Let me get my screen shared again real quick. What is up, everyone? How's it going? Happy Saturday. It is an amazing opportunity to be here with y'all. And also an amazing opportunity to speak with y'all and hopefully engage with this idea that we can believe our dreams into our realities. So as mentioned, my name is Christian Feliciano. You can call me Chris for short. He, him pronouns. And yeah, let's get this rolling. Before we start, I do want to say, again, thank you all for being here and being here on a Saturday. I want to name and recognize that we were in a pandemic, and we all know that virtual learning, school, virtual has been tough. And, being behind Zoom for long periods of time can cause Zoom fatigue and honestly just make us not with it. You know what I mean? So it'd be too privileged of me to ask for your full attention today. So instead, I'm going to ask that you can engage as best as possible and within your best capacity, whether that means having your cam off, reacting with the Zoom emojis, dropping knowledge in the chat, whatever you feel like is best for me, and also hopefully the best for you too. And also, happy Black History Month. Make sure that y'all are doing what you can to recognize the history that we live on, the backs that this country has been built on, and also know that Black History Month is every single month of the year. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Let me tell you a little bit about who I am as we go into this keynote speech today. So I'm a first generation college graduate. As y'all know, I'm a proud one at that, the youngest of three brothers. And I'll even say this, the most privileged and opportune of those three to pursue higher education and also to continue pursuing higher education with my master's degree as well right now. I'm the son of a military father. He pursued a military pathway in the Philippines to gain access and citizenship to America. And what that meant for us, opportunities, right? Our parents, my Filipino parents came from the Philippines to America to give us this chance at a better life. And what that meant for me was pursuing higher education and doing them right. I also say I'm an educator and student of color because I'm continuously learning and working to figure out, well, how do we make higher education not only accessible, but successful for students like us from communities like our own. And last but not least, I got to represent Southeast San Diego, born and raised, lived and learned experiences from the quote unquote hood. You know how it goes down there. We had Miss D while representing last weekend. She dropped knowledge about that two-story McDonald's. I live right behind it, a Woodman Village apartment. You know where that is? You're a real one. So to all my Southeast San Diego students, what is good? Welcome to today. So I think it might be better if you understand who I am by let me telling you about what I do. So I kind of hinted at earlier, but in terms of what I do, I'm passionate about serving students from our communities. And more specifically, I'm very passionate about serving and supporting at promise student populations in college access and success. I don't like the term at risk because this term gets thrown at a lot of us with these marginalized identities, right? People that are first generation, low or limited income, students of color, all our other marginalized identities, we get labeled at risk. But I don't believe in that. I believe that we're at promise. We're at promise for achieving our full potential in and beyond higher education. And so I believe that we're all at promise at the end of the day. And what that looked like for me in my recent work. So I used to work for Reality Changers here in San Diego, nonprofit in City Heights, and I got to really practice my passion working with students from first generation backgrounds and from, let's be real, from tougher neighborhoods, right? Where the opportunities were tough and they had responsibilities to look out for their own and take care of themselves too. But what was powerful was that I got to work with some of the most amazing students in my life. In the top left, you'll see Jay Montesinos, who currently comes here to UCSD. We're working on our college applications at night. We used to serve dinner, chop it up during dinner, and get straight into the College Apps Academy together to get them to where they want to be. In the top right, you see students who receive full rides to UCSD as well. And some of you in this call also have that full ride. I see you here on this call. We have Mustafa, we have Tammy, Julieta, who actually goes to Berkeley, and Joanna as well. On the bottom left, Karina Garcia, who goes to UCLA. And one of my favorite moments as well, seeing my students come back in the bottom right at our alumni reunion. We have Levan or Van, Joanna again, Jasmine, and also Angel Rios. And so really what I do is about service. It's about passion, about making sure we get it right for our community with education. So that's a little bit about what I do. But one of my greatest mentors and continuing mentors has told me this, the importance of the why and why we do. And if I can, I'm gonna share this motto with you, and I encourage you to write this down. You know, when you know your why, your what becomes that much stronger. I'm gonna say that again. When you know your what becomes that much stronger. And really, the culmination of my journey and my experiences have formed and continue to form my why and why I do. So let me tell you a little bit about that. So this first point here, when I was growing up, I told you I'm from Paradise Hills, from a bit of a rougher neighborhood. My initial dream was to quote unquote make it out of the hood with higher education as my way out. And let's be real, some of us feel that way right now about what we live in and how we view higher education. And if you feel that way too, drop a react in the chat, drop a reaction in Zoom, because that's a real feeling I want to affirm, because that was my initial dream at first. You know what I mean? What did that look like? I had two older brothers who are 13 and 14 years older than me. Still have them, of course. Can't say had, right? But they're older than me. And when they're growing up, I have this strong belief that they're some of the smartest people in my life. They always looked out for us and each other. But the education system didn't give them what they needed, didn't give them that support, didn't give them the resources to succeed, and instead labeled them as failures, dropping one of them out. And where did they go? The streets. They went to the streets and joined gangs. Do I think that's a bad thing? Not really, right? Because they look for protection, they look for community, and maybe not all the things they could say they are proud of, they did, but I still think they were looking for something special, right? And that's what the education system couldn't give them. But what did that result in? When I was in middle school, my brother came back from the military service. He was able to graduate from high school, was able to do himself right. But when he came back, word got around the street that George Feliciano was back in town. And what did that mean? People that he messed around with, honestly got into fights with and bad things with, knew he was back. So during the midnight while I was in middle school, my house got shot at. 3 bullets pierced my garage door, one into the tire of my mom's 4Runner, one into the box holding my brother's baseball trophy, and one into my brother's room. Luckily, he was sleeping and laying down, but if I had to give you a visual, if this is my brother sleeping, about 5 inches above his head, the bullet pierced through. And so I'm very thankful to be in the reality where that bullet didn't hit, but I had to start thinking about the reality in which someone shot that bullet through my house, right? And so for me, that meant I got to get out of here. And that was my real story. And so in my personal statement, I kid you not, I wrote word for word, I'm trying to pursue higher ed to make it out of the hood. And luckily I got into my dream school here at UCSD. But what I'm most thankful for and most lucky for is when I got into UCSD, that reality check I thought I had in my head got flipped on its head, because I started to think about who's actually here at colleges, who's here in higher education. When I entered UCSD in 2013, the student population demographics went like this. Less than 3% of the students were Filipino or Filipino American, less than 2% were Mexican, Latinx, or Latinx American, and less than 1% were Black or Black African American. And that hit me, because if you know Southeast San Diego, that is not what you see. And I had to figure out, well, how do I change that? How do I get back involved? Because the grass wasn't greener, I just need to start planting the seeds where I once grew. And so I started to figure out, well, you know what? Maybe let's start with higher education outreach. I got involved with KP Core actually, got to work with my high school as a mentor, and man, that was amazing, right? Got to see some students. And then I got hungry. I started pursuing more opportunities with Upward Bound, Trio, and that led to my pathway today where I got to work full time in college access. And now I'm pursuing a degree to figure out how to do it better. And that's my journey, and that's why I do. And so I'm a firm believer in that, a lot of impact comes from not just telling you, but showing you what a journey looks like. So I like to share a story with you. Is that cool if I share a story? Can I get some thumbs up in the Zoom reacts? Maybe some head nods, some of these? Cool. All right.
Hell yeah.
Yes, sir. So let me tell you about this. This is a story about believing in a dream, and most importantly, one that's very full circle that continues to inspire me and impact me throughout my journey today. So, backtrack about 2 years ago to UC San Diego's Trident Summer Academy. This was my last student job after graduating, the last opportunity I got to be a student mentor. And for me, I was like, yo, I got to do this right before I go full time because I know I'd be passionate about my career. But that part of me that's like, I'm going to miss this. So I told myself, let's do this. Let's do this. And so I got to do a residential program for high school applicants and transfer student applicants from underserved communities and schools. All the flavor, the alignment with my passion was there. But what I didn't expect to be there was probably one of the most impactful stories I ever had in my life. On the first day of the high school program, I met two young Filipino scholars. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. They're from Paradise Hills. And so, part of me was like, yo, I'm going to chop it up, see what's good with them, ask them what they're passionate about. Because for me, I was like, maybe it's the inner Filipino, we stick together. But the other part of me was like, I thought back to one of my greatest mentors, who's also a Filipino from Paradise Hills. And he told me, hey, we're about to grow together through this mentorship. But when you see another young Filipino scholar come up to you or be with you in community, you just help them out and you support them. And that's what drove me to that conversation. We had dinner that night. It was in Pines, actually. I remember this. I think I had like some spaghetti or something, something bland. But what wasn't bland was the conversation. I started talking to them and I asked them this question. What are you passionate about? What do you see yourself doing in college and higher ed? And I think at the base of that conversation was, what was your why? And so the young Filipino male tells me this, which impacted me so heavily. I want to pursue education. I see myself working with students, working in the classrooms, really bringing that impact back to my community through the power of education. And I was like, dang, that's deep. But something that hit me next was what he told me. And it was this. I'm going to tell my family, specifically my dad, about my passion. That doesn't fly. Because, like with Filipino culture, Filipino American families, what do they push on us? Become a doctor, become a nurse, pursue medical pathways, or other times join the military. That's just not us, right? I mean, of course, power to those that pursue that, but also power to those that have their own dreams too. And that's why I wanted to see in this student, how do you pursue your own dream and take agency over that, be the driver behind that dream? And so throughout the rest of our time together in that program, it was about, well, how do I show this student that I believe in his dream so much that he can believe in it too? And as we came through our time together by the end of the program, we built that belief, built that relationship, and really built that idea that you can believe in your dream, because I believe in it too. We believe in it together. But let me just stop telling you about that story and show you what a dream believed in sounds like, right? So I get this text message, which moves me to no end. Thank you for being my mentor, Chris. You validated my passion for education, and that's something I didn't realize I needed so bad. It's really tough to always hear my dad disappointingly go, why don't you just become a doctor? I get the intentions, but it's not the support I need. They go on to say, thank you again for all that you've done for me within that week, and thanks in advance for all the great advice you're going to give me later down the road. From the wise words of Drake, which is in alignment with my Sweets theme, you the censored best. Love you, Chris, right? And so that's what a dream believed in sounds like, right? But let me show you what a dream believed in looks like. Because a couple months after the program, I get this text message. Chris, I got into UCSD. Thanks for being a part of my journey, big bro. I never got the chance to ask you for help during the application process, but you definitely contributed to this journey. Parentheses, I met you in one of my PIQs, Lamau. So glad I met you during TSA. Hope you're doing great. And that's when my passion and my why grew exponentially, because it's this idea that when we believe in each other's dreams, we can empower them into our realities, right? And we have the power to pursue our own dreams too. And I also bring this up because some of us are privileged and opportune to have those believers, those supporters behind our dreams that we bring to the table. But on the other side of that coin, not all of us do, right? So what does it mean for us to come together, bring those dreams and elevate them into our realities, into our existence, so that we can do this together in and beyond higher education? But wait, there's more, as Billy Myers once said. So it goes even further, because this full circle dream doesn't stop. Because after I got that text message, I started thinking about, well, how do we leverage connections? How do we leverage believing in dreams to bring the impact back to our community one day? Because from that point on, I was like, you know what? It's cool that UCSD has this program, but how do we bring a program back to Southeast San Diego? And specifically, how do we bring a program back to Paradise Hills? And that's where I was like, you know what, I got to apply to grad school. And so if you see Drake's looking back at that young child, that young inspiration, my young inspiration, I started applying to grad schools and higher ed programs. And I made a list of 6 schools: UCLA, University of Pennsylvania, University of San Francisco, University of Michigan, San Diego State University, and last but not least, my dream school, Harvard. And all those applications, I wrote about one student's story and one student's dream that showed me that, you know what, we can do this together. And with the power of those applications, I got a little more confident, because I'll be real with you, also insecure about my applications. And maybe this might resonate with some of you in this call, because we might not have the best grades, might not have the best experiences, but we got the heart and we got the story, right? I'll be real with you. I applied to those schools with a below a 3.0 college GPA. And I told myself, dang, can I really do this? My scores were even like barely above average for my test scores. But I had mentors and supervisors that told me, Chris, you got this. Your story is there. The impact is there. Let it lead you. And more importantly, let your dreams lead you. And with the story behind me, with my student story behind me, I was able to text him back one day with this, a full circle dream. This one's for you, little bro, in our community in Paradise Hills. My acceptance to Harvard, my dream school, a full circle dream come true. And that's when I was like, this is it. This is it. And so with that being said, I hope that we kind of see the power of these dreams, right? What does it mean to follow your own? What does it mean to follow those around with you? So we can bring those into our existence and empower our realities together. And if I didn't mention it already, that young scholar I texted is with you today. Your youth co-coordinator, Audie Daniel. Thank you for being my inspiration and for showing me that we can do this together. And the other student at that dinner table, your other youth co-coordinator, Audie Isabella. Thank you also for showing me that we can do this and do this right. And so what is that? Where's my journey take me now? That's a good question, because as good as Harvard was, and as hard as I cried when I told my mom I got into Harvard, the money wasn't there, fam. I'm low income, bro. We don't got the time for that. But let me tell you this. I looked at the programs that I joined. I looked at programs I could choose from, looked at Michigan, and I was like, you know what? They got a student access and success concentration. They're about diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice. And most importantly, they gave me a full ride. This boy from Paradise Hills, whose mom only had $14,000 a year to raise him through high school, whose house got shot at in middle school, got a full ride to the #1 higher ed program in the nation. That was crazy to me. And that's where my heart felt I needed to lead. I'm doing great work now with my internship, Project Inspire, working with student orgs on how to do educational outreach right and without the savior model of I'm going to go in and save this community, but how do we put the students in the community at the core of our work? Also do campus visits for low and limited income schools in the area. But also my favorite part, I'm doing research with the only Filipino faculty, not only in my program, but in all the School of Education. And that's where I felt like my journey is leading me forward with the right work and with the right motivations. So as I conclude this speech, I want to leave y'all with this. Believing in your dream can bring it into reality, but believing in your community's dreams can empower our reality. And also my favorite motto, if you know your why, your what becomes that much stronger. So with that being said, I have one last slide. Thank you all, everyone. This might expose him low key, but thank you, Audie Daniel, for bringing me out. If you want to see the young scholar version of him, he's in this photo. But also I want to say this, I'm so proud of the work that you're doing with your committee, and I can't wait to be your colleague in higher education. So that being said, thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure to be here. My email is up there, and looks like my time is over. So happy Saturday and happy Black History Month, and happy weekend too of high school conference.